Well, we're back for second half independent off-tube studio commentary from the game at St James's Park. We were just about to get underway, but a standard problem now these days in the Premier League is all the equipment the referees are running around with. There's a problem with either the battery pack or the headphones or the mic or something else. But hopefully now Peter Banks is all kitted up and we can restart this game. It's actually taking a little bit longer than I first thought, but now Peter Banks is making his way back towards the centre circle, so we should be ready to get this second half underway any second now. There has been one change here for Fulham as well, with Kevin coming on the field. I didn't see, they didn't show us who the substitution was for, but we'll wait and see, as you can hear my colleague just suggested it, maybe it will be Emile Smith-Rowe who's gone off the field. I can't see him actually at the start of the second half, so we'll wait and see whether or not he's gone off. But we're back underway. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and John Hogan taking through the action. And John, there was some decent spells there for Fulham, but not really too many dangerous efforts on target in that first half.
Yeah, it's one of those, isn't it, where I think they played okay. Yeah, do you know, this might be a bit of a cliche as well, but you say, well, if these, you know, if you replayed that first half, 100 times, I'm sure Fulham would win their fair share of the first half and draw their fair share. I don't think that Newcastle were like head and shoulders, and it was just that one mistake, wasn't it, from Bassi, really. Not necessarily anything that Newcastle did to get the goal, and then we thought the keeper was slightly out of position, which I'm reliably informed that against Arsenal that Bernd Leno had a storming good game. So you allow players their mistake, but it was a bigger mistake to start with from Calvin Bassey, and that might be the only difference between the teams, really.
Well, it was that moment that allowed Newcastle to take the lead. They didn't have too many clear-cut chances apart from that. There was another one-on-one actually where on this occasion Diop was playing everybody on side, and that allowed Murphy to go through again. That was a very good save from Bernd Leno. And there was an effort inside the first few minutes which came off the post as well. But confirmation that it was Emile Smith-Rowe that came off for Fulham. He's been replaced by Kevin. But Kevin's going to go over onto the left, and Iwobi's going to play in the number 10 role. But Fulham are on the attack now with Traore just at the edge of the area, rolling the ball back towards Sander Bjerg. And there's space down the left here for Sessegnon. He breaks into the ball. Oh, goodness me. He has scuffed that one, putting it mildly. Toe ends that away for a goal kick. Disappointing there from Ryan Sessegnon. Just to remind you the two teams very quickly. Nick Pope in goal for Newcastle. Back four of Kieran Trippier, Malik Tiaf, Sven Botman and Dan Burn. The three in midfielder, Lewis Miley, Bruno Guimaraes and Joe Linton, with Jacob Murphy, Anthony Gordon and Nick Voltemade as the attacking three. For Fulham, Bernd Leno in goal with the back four of Kenny Tete, Issa Diop, Calvin Bassey and Ryan Sessegnon. The two holder midfielders are Sasa Lukic and Sander Bjerg. The three ahead of them are Adama Traore, Alex Iwobi and Kevin, who now comes on to replace Emile Smith-Rowe, and Raul Jimenez is the front man. The other game in the Premier League is still 1-1 between Chelsea and Sunderland. In fact, they've only just kicked off. They were a few minutes behind us because of more injury time at Stamford Bridge in the first half. Ball now back with Nick Pope. Long clearance from him up to the halfway line. Taken down here by Joe Linton. Leaves the ball for Anthony Gordon. There's pressing here from Fulham, and Lewis Miley forced to go back quickly here towards Malik Tiaf. It's played back to the right-hand side now. Trippier towards Murphy, who's just losing his balance. Bruno Guimaraes then trying to keep it in play, but all he did actually was just leave the ball here for Sander Bjerg. So it's a chance now for Fulham to keep a bit of possession, with Sessegnon playing it back now towards Bassey. Up towards the halfway line now. It was just bouncing away from Adama Traore, out for a throw to Newcastle, taken quickly here by Byrne. He gets the ball back from Botman, and then he sends a long ball up towards the halfway line. It's too long, in fact, too high for Voltemade, and easily back with Bassey, who goes towards his own goalkeeper here in Bernd Leno.
Yeah, so Kevin, I'm excited to watch him. It's funny, isn't it? It's a well-trodden route he's taken. I don't know what it's about Shakhtar Donetsk and Brazilian players, but same route as Willian, isn't it, really?
Well, there'll probably be some sort of agent stroke director of football connection there that means that they get a sort of a job lot of them, don't they?
Yeah, it's quite right, that. But so I'm excited to watch him. He's got Brazilian under 20 international caps, so clearly something about him.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a chance to see him a few times starting and coming off the bench for Fulham. There's certainly something about him. He's a tricky player. He wants to go for goal as well. Fits into that kind of mode of player that Marco Silva wants in that role as well. And it's important, I think, because, as I say, Smith-Rowe certainly wasn't pulling up any trees. In fact, it's got to be said that he's not really been pulling up any trees since he's moved to Fulham.
No, I don't know. Sometimes when they come from a big club, you feel that they're going to kick on. There must be a good player because he was breaking into the Arsenal 11 regularly and doing okay. But sometimes it's just a case that you're playing with better players and you get 10 chances instead of the 2. You might get a slightly lesser team, and I think it might be a little bit of that really. But it just hasn't kicked on. It's a shame for him. Obviously for Fulham as well, they give him enough opportunities, don't they, really? And he sort of drags himself back into the first team, and you think, well, go on then. But it was a disappointing first half from him.
It was, and there's no surprise that if anyone was going to get the hook at half-time, it was going to be him. So he'll have to try again whether or not he gets another chance in Fulham's next game. Newcastle, of course, taking that lead in the first half. Newcastle's next game is in midweek. They play at home to Spurs in the quarter-final of the EFL Cup. Might be the last 16 actually. Well, it's just one round before the quarter-final. As far as Fulham are concerned, they're also in the EFL Cup. Slightly easier game potentially away to Wycombe Wanderers before they play at home to Wolves next weekend. Newcastle's next league game is away to West Ham on Sunday the 2nd. But it's a free kick to Newcastle after that foul on Bruno Guimaraes. The ball played into the penalty area. It's only partially clear. There was half a chance for Jacob Murphy, but he's been robbed of the ball now by Sessegnon. And here comes Kevin with Iwobi down the left-hand side. Iwobi then switching play over towards the right-hand side. It's slightly behind Raul Jimenez, but he can still keep the ball in play. Still half a chance here for Fulham to get further forward. It's not a counter-attack anymore, but they are in possession inside the Newcastle half. It's with Lukic. Gets away from Miley, playing it short now down the right-hand side. Tete in towards Adama Traore. He's got that big frame of Dan Burn just in front of him, but Traore still finds a pass at the edge of the area. Half a chance here now potentially for Bjerg. He thought about going for goal, but then he goes for the cross instead. It's a diving header away by Botman. Second chance here maybe for Fulham, but Issa Diop is judged to have just pushed into Voltemada. Free kick to Newcastle.
Yeah, Adama there was marked by 2, so he had Dan Burn and Joe Linton. And he thinks there's no profit to be had taking him on. So he finds a good ball, and then they find a man in space, and then instead of the ball coming in first time, they faff about. They've got a loaded box there. So I don't really get what they were doing, I think Adama's playing quite well. I could see him getting hooked off, though, and trying something else. But for me, he's actually playing pretty well.
Well, the rest of the Fulham bench is Amissa, Kearney, Castagna, Cuenca, King, Kusi Asare, Reed, and the goalkeeper Lecomte. So those are the substitutes that Marco Silva has to choose from. I'll get my words out eventually. As far as Newcastle, it's Barnes, Elanga, Kraft, Asula, Ramsey, Cher, Tonali, Willock, and Ramsdale, the goalkeeper. Those are the subs for Eddie Howe this afternoon. Newcastle in possession now, just at the edge of the Fulham penalty area, played back towards Lewis Miley. It's got support on the left-hand side here from Gordon. There's an overlap from Byrne, but it's played back towards Miley. He thought about a cross, but again, he just prefers the short ball back towards Dan Byrne, and it's Byrne's ball into the box, which is hooked clear by Issa Diop, but it's straight back to Dan Byrne. He takes a touch, just gets the ball into the penalty area before he's blocked off by Tete, and then it's Traore with a clearance, which actually deflects off Byrne, and it's out for a throw. Well, it should have been a throw to Fulham. It's a throw to Newcastle. They've taken it quickly. It's with Joe Linton now playing it over towards Miley. Now on the right-hand side, it's Trippier in towards Murphy. Murphy claiming that he was fouled there. I don't like that one. It's almost like the referee was convinced by the players' appeal. I don't think the referee was going to give that initially. Well,
Murphy just stopped to say, well, you got to give me it. I think he just Sessegnon had a big hold of the back of his shirt there, blindsided the referee. Maybe his assistant referee said, "Oh, we need to pull that up." So something happened, but it was quite obvious, wasn't it? Really, Sessegnon he's having a sort of weirdly poor game, isn't he? Was out with the washing for such a long time in his career, really, and then it's like, he's never been away.
He's back, but
he hasn't played well today.
No, I still think he's a better player. Obviously, Fulham have got Robinson missing out with injury, but I prefer him in that attacking three rather than a left back. I must admit, I think that does best to work there. But that's free kick to Newcastle after that foul is played into the box and immediately cleared. It's a long clearance as well, all the way into the Newcastle half.
I think that he's got a load of end product. He hasn't necessarily got a trick, has he? So as an attacker, if you wanted a bit more flow, cut back into the box here, but that's well read, and eventually the ball will be cleared away.
By Sessegnon, who's actually completely going to get to what I just said, that he's better going forward. He actually did some really good work in defence there as well. But Tete now on the right-hand side for Fulham. Just stopping before the halfway line, playing it into Iwobi, who is definitely in that number 10 role now that Smith Rowe has gone off. It's over to Kevin on the left-hand side. He tries to get past Trippier. Didn't really have any kind of trick to do that, though, so Trippier is able to stop him. But Iwobi mops up the loose ball, and Fulham back in possession there. Iwobi now trying a long ball. It's a decent ball as well in towards Jimenez, although he's been forced out wide on the left-hand side. He cuts it back into Kevin, who breaks into the box. He then plays the ball across. It's just a bit too quick for Traore. But that's the right idea from Fulham. They forced their number 9, Jimenez, out wide, and he was able to play it back into Kevin, and it was actually a decent ball into the box.
Yeah, it was a good build-up play, wasn't it? Great ball from Jimenez. And for Kevin, I think the snapshot, everybody's blocked off, but he's only looking down, and for me, that's not good enough. So where is everybody? He puts a percentage ball into the box, no better. And Marcus Silva looks down. Kevin looked down. He didn't look up, and he's got to do better.
He does. I think that from that replay, it was a decent ball, but actually it could have been a far more precise ball into an actual teammate rather than just driving that one across the 6-yard box. So 55 minutes on the clock, unofficial independent off-tube studio commentary here from St James's Park, where Newcastle lead against Fulham by 1-0. Here come the visitors again, though, with Iwobi down the left-hand side in towards Kevin. He breaks into the penalty area. Another ball in. There's a low ball this time. Oh, it's crashed off the other side of the bar, and there's a rebound, and it's in the back of the net, and Fulham are back into it on 56 minutes, and it's Sasa Lukic with a header from literally a yard or two out after the initial effort crashes off the underside of the bar.
Well, do you know what? I think they just about deserved that. I was going to mention Sasa Lukic before, holding midfielder, but he's somebody who plays like a ghost 9. Drifts into that box. He's good in the air. He's strong. And this time, we were talking about bemoaning a bad ball in before. This time it's a really good ball across and gives them a chance. But they've got a loaded box. They've got players in there. They're wanting to get forward. The system's working. Looking at Kevin now. He's got eyes up, and it's a much, much better ball. It's a shame that the first effort didn't go straight in on the run from Jimenez.
Yeah, he would have loved that goal, Jimenez. It was a really nice strike as well.
Look at him, Kevin, there, eyes up, and then he puts a great ball in, where the cross before, he just had eyes down. He was never looking. This time he's all eyes.
I just wonder if in the meantime, in between that first cross and the second cross, if he's had a quick shout from the bench, because the bench is Portuguese, they'll be able to speak to Kevin in Portuguese and tell him, look up, see where your teammates are, and maybe just a few seconds later he's literally just done that.
But it pulls apart from the ball before, don't you think? And it's just like, on a plate, and Jimenez is thinking, oh, crikey. Ball's coming across from the left, so he's going to hit it with his preferred right foot, and he hits it hard. He smashes that to the frame of the bar. And then when it comes out to Lukic, he gets ahead. You're not missing anything because there's a man down.
No, there isn't. I say Lukic actually cut his head as he's scored that goal, and it looks like he's collided with Sven Botman, who's still in the back of the net, literally inside the goal. Sven Botman is being checked over by the Newcastle physios. Lukic was able to celebrate with his teammates, but it was actually his teammates, the subs in that corner of the field. They were the ones that sort of pointed out that you've got a cut on your head, and that's when they got the physio over. And Lukic is now being checked over, so he's got that very thick, wide black bandage across his forehead now, whereas it looks like there's a cut on the top of the head for Botman.
Do you know what? Sometimes you see players who sort of are about it. Lukic's never going to do that. He's going to force that ball and the man and everything into the back of the net. For listeners of a certain age, it's like sometimes you go, you channel your inner Peter with, and everything's going to hit the back of the net.
I thought you were going to say Terry Butcher then with the bloody shirt, because maybe I'm a little bit too young for Peter with.
Yeah, well, it's the same thing really. Yeah, it's there on a plate, but sometimes you've got to be brave. And that goes for the defender as well. He put his body on the line there, quite literally, and. And Lukic is thinking from this range, I'm just going to go through it, and I don't care what I hit. If I hit woodwork, if I hit the keeper, if I hit defend, don't care. That ball's going in the back of the net. And they were dead unlucky, like I said, that it wasn't in off the volley anyway. I think they deserve to be back in. There's not been much between them, and we've properly got game on now. They're struggling to staunch the blood coming from Botman's head.
That's right, yeah. So we're finally going to get a replay of what actually happened inside the 6-yard box to see exactly how Botman and Lukic have got their injuries. Kevin's ball in, shot crashed off the underside of the bar, and it's just that Botman is there trying to head it, and as he's there on the line trying to stop it, Lukic effectively heads the ball and sort of the back of Botman's head at the same time.
Yeah, it's a cracking ball in, it's a cracking hit, and then there is a crack, and it's the two heads coming together. Lukic leaning back here. It's probably second favourite to it, but he just wants it. He's just desperate for it.
I'll tell you what, just looking at that replay again, in terms of the first effort, Malik Tiaf actually gets a little bit of a nick off the first cross, which, had he not done that, I'm not sure if it would have landed as nicely as it did for Jimenez, but you can see the reaction from Marco Silva. He has that sort of expression. He's normally quite a sort of a stern manager, isn't he? But he was certainly very happy to see that one go into the back of the net. His side are now level. We're going to get quite a bit of added time at the end of this game with this long pause. But as well as that, Newcastle now getting ready to make a triple change. Fabian Schär, I'm assuming for head injury reasons, with Botman not being able to carry on. But also we're seeing that they're going to bring on Harvey Barnes and Sandro Tonali.
Yeah, so for me, I'd take Lewis Mile off, but he might take Joe Linton off. So I would have started Tonali anyway. I don't really understand what he's keeping him back for, unless he'd had a bit of a niggle or something like that. It's obvious that Botman's got to go, and then you take your pick. Surely it won't be Anthony Gordon. Jacob Murphy's been having a good game, but then he was replaced in midweek by Harvey Barnes, who went on and scored, and with that incredible assist, of course, from Nick Pope bowling the ball out.
Yeah, Murphy's off, the goal scorer. That does surprise me a little bit.
They did it in midweek, so
does that mean that Harvey Barnes, the right footer who always likes to play on the left, is he going to be forced to play on the right?
No, he's going to play on the right because he did in midweek and scored. So no problem with that. He just drove straight through the middle, thumped the ball in with his right boot, and you thought, yeah, that works, and no need to move.
No need, absolutely. Yeah, Sandro Tonali, by the way, is on for Lewis Miley, so John got that absolutely spot on. So a triple change confirmation then. Sven Botman is off, Fabian Schär is on to replace him, Lewis Miley is off, Sandro Tonali is on to replace him, and Jacob Murphy replaced by Harvey Barnes. So Newcastle now making a triple change. 61 minutes on the clock, but it's more like sort of 56, I would say. Maybe not as much as 5 minutes, but certainly 3 or 4 minutes lost. Fulham have actually kicked off, well, Newcastle have kicked off, having conceded that goal against Fulham, and Fulham have been down to 10 men for the last 30 seconds because the referee forgot to give permission for Lukic to come back on, but he's back on the field now with half his head covered in that black bandage. But it's Newcastle now in possession here, with Bruno Guimaraes just going back towards Fabian Schär, and unless Schär is coming back from an injury, I would argue that he probably should have been starting as well.
I'm not sure. No, he's a good player. I think the thing is, and you're probably right, but if they need the alternatives and they want to bed them in, and it's like, well, they had a good game in midweek. For a centre-back pair, it's like, go again then. If you can learn off each other. And Shah is a good player, but he's picked up injuries. So I think they're looking to the future with the pairing that they've got out today. Anyway, here come Newcastle.
They do. It was a throw from the left-hand side, taken quickly into the box. Voltemar does really well to hold it up. Then it's a cross. Oh! It should be 2-1. It was a delicate little ball in from the edge of the area to the edge of the 6-yard box. Bruno Guimaraes charging in, and there is absolutely no one around him. He's got a couple of square yards of space around him where he can do what he likes, and he just heads it over the bar.
It's a brilliant ball in. It's put exactly where he wants it. Great play from Voltemar, a great play from Gordon. Go on, put it in then. And inexplicably,
in an ideal world, it would have been Bruno Guimaraes laying that off to Gordon, and Gordon crossing it for Voltemar, because Voltemar would have scored that.
Yeah, you get the feeling it'd have been nodding that down. But I feel also like I don't know what he's thinking about, because I feel like me and you would have scored that. I genuinely think he's maybe overthinking it, or
you've not seen me play football though.
Yeah. but he's what? He's 6 yards out.
No, I mean he's a great chance, and he's overthought it. All he's got to do is just nod it straight. When he's tried to sort of hit it on a slight angle and gets it all wrong. And in the meantime, Fulham have pushed forward now with Kevin down the left hand side. His ball into the box is deflected out for a throw to Fulham right by the corner flag.
Tell you what, proper game on now. I didn't feel like Fulham were out of it. I felt they had a real good chance to upset the apple cart today. For Newcastle, they're not playing badly, but it's like if they're 3 or 4% off because they're tired from midweek, it's enough to give Fulham a chance, isn't it?
Certainly is. Fulham will sense that they've got an opportunity now as a long throw goes in from Sessegnon into the penalty area. It's nodded clear, and there may be a chance for Newcastle to go on the counter now as that ball is played. Fulham are saying there was no foul after a Newcastle player hits the deck. It was referee was close by, but he said there's no foul. A second ball coming in back into the Newcastle penalty area, just gets away from Jimenez, but he gets a second chance. He goes for the overhead and he's got it on target, but he doesn't get too much power behind it, and Nick Pope makes a save.
Yeah, wow. I mean, Kevin's done well since he's come in. Between him and Raul Jimenez, they seem to be forging a bit of a partnership, which is always a good thing, isn't it? Same for Gordon and Voltemar. They're two good players. Look like they enjoy playing together. Gordon there gets a free kick against him. He's not happy with that.
He's furious with that, isn't he? Yeah, he can't believe that the referee's given that against him. We'll see. First of all, was there any argument there was a foul for Newcastle there?
I thought there's a shove in the back.
In that previous move where Fulham had the half chance,
yeah. So I felt that it was a clear and obvious free kick that Peter Banks didn't give. I don't think he was down on the list for this initially, because they made a big deal of that Peter Banks was the referee before 5 minutes into the game, kind of thing. So maybe he wasn't supposed to be.
Well, that's right. A couple of sites that we saw and a couple of previews of this game had Tony Harrington down as the referee, and he's not even the fourth official today. So there might have been some late rejigging. It may well have been that. There was either an injury or perhaps a late illness call to saying that the referees had to be sort of reshuffled. But it is Peter Banks in charge, and he's as John made the point very rightly in the first half. He is trying to let the game go. There's a couple of little half fouls here and there that he's not wanting to stop. Any chance he gets, he wants to play the advantage as well.
Yeah, I would say that, but I would also make the other point that he's doing a lot of centre circle refereeing, whether he prepared fully for this game or not, or I suppose as he shows the card to he will be there, I think. Or was it?
Or was it Kevin? I mean, he's not. Kevin's now asking the question of the referee as well as to what that was for. I mean, it seemed like there's been a few of those where players have just been getting away, and there's a sort of either a slight nudge or a slight pull back, and say whatever it was, the referee wasn't too happy with that one.
Kevin's just laughing in his face there. It's just ridiculous, mate. Anyway, and he points to his head. I'm not sure you necessarily want to be doing that too much, but anyway, they're going to restart, and then Newcastle have a free kick.
They do. It's taken short by Trippier in towards Bruno Guimaraes. Then he fires a quick ball down the right hand side. It's just blocked off, and now a chance here for Sessegnon to get the ball away for Fulham. It plays it in towards Kevin on that left hand side. He dances away from two. That was a really good move there from Kevin, and he's carrying on. It's Joe Linton coming back trying to stop him, but he finds Iwobi at the edge of it. Iwobi goes for goal. It's the wrong choice. There were two options. There was Traore on the right, there was Jimenez on the left, and Iwobi's effort gets charged down. And in the meantime, Newcastle have now got forward with Tonali finding Gordon on the left hand side. He breaks into the penalty area from that left hand side. He's got three options inside the box, and he plays a terrible ball. When you think of that great ball he played a few minutes ago, which was wasted by Bruno Guimaraes, that's just a toe-ended, left-footed ball that is, I mean, literally 10 yards away from any Newcastle player and out for a throw to Fulham.
Well, two sides from me in the space of 2 minutes, because you've got great opportunities and they've fluffed their lines. Tired players do that, don't they? But, that break for Fulham, it's clear Chari's on. He's an overlap and he's by himself. So what you do? Shoot and have it blocked away. Then the other end of it, I mean, he's going at 90 miles an hour, Gordon, but he just, overcooked his cross there by so much. Like, it's so unlike him. But I think some of these guys, they're in the red, aren't they? When they've played like they've played in midweek, I think it's so difficult to do that, come back again and do it all over again. It is
difficult. Just confirmation as well that we were shown that Kevin was booked. He wasn't actually booked. Now we've seen a replay of Alex Iwobi blocking a quick free kick for Newcastle, and confirmation that it was actually Iwobi that picked up that yellow card.
But it might have been Kevin, because Kevin was stood closer. The ball was hit at
Iwobi, and he's the one that actually ended up blocking it. But I see what you mean. There's probably more intent from where Kevin was, but
because he was closer.
Yes, he was.
So I think that's why we're not sure about that. Anyway, that'll come out in the fullness of time. But Iwobi looks like, according to the BBC, he's gone in the book. Joins Kenny Tete in there.
Yeah, 2 Fulham players on a yellow card. No Newcastle player seen a yellow so far this afternoon. And it is the Magpies in possession inside their own half now with Malik Tiaf. Just a square ball in towards Fabian Schär, who came on to replace the injured Sven Botman. Newcastle trying to get something started again, but a little bit slow and steady right now coming out of their own half. Not in any rush to try and play a long ball forward. Fulham are doing what they can and playing a very high offside line here as well. I mean, Newcastle are only about 10 or 12 yards away from the halfway line, and Fulham are only about 10 yards away from the centre circle. Now that's their defender, so they really are trying to congest the field as much as they can to avoid any long runs here from Pacey, Gordon and Barnes, and of course avoid any long balls as well.
Yeah, it's right. I mean, they're flirting with disaster doing that because they're playing against pace, but they try to push themselves forward, aren't they? So it's sort of understandable. It's a high-risk strategy. I think they genuinely think that this game's up for grabs, but here come Newcastle play behind that line.
Oh, it was Gordon's ball in towards Voltemada, just stopped at the edge of the area by Tete. That was good work from him. Fulham now back in possession inside their own half. They want a free kick for that challenge. The referee's going to give them the advantage, which is the right thing to do because Fulham keep the ball alive. And here comes Iwobi now down the left-hand side alongside Kevin. There's three in the area now. If Kevin can find the right cross into the box, he's just stopping his run. He tries a right-footed ball in this time, which deflects out for a corner. We're at 70 minutes now. It's going to be a little bit of injury time at the end of this game as well, but it's 70 minutes gone. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1, and it will be John to take us through to full-time.
Well, we're seeing some interesting stuff from Kevin there. He's flicking it with the outstep of his right boot, so he's right-footed, right? But we've seen him put crosses in with his left. So, clearly he's two-footed but prefers his right. So not a bad thing. But, maybe he deserved a left-foot cross there. Lukic goes across and he will take the corner kick. So they're all loaded at the far post, and Jimenez is the man, undoubtedly. You've got to look for him. Diop in front, try maybe flick on near post. Not too many at the near post anyway. Ball's going to go far. Does to the far post. Out comes the keeper. He's read that like a book, Nick Pope. And again, he's bowled the ball out there. Not quite the quarterback throw he did in midweek for an assist for Harvey Barnes. But they do break into midfield. A strong challenge there from Jimenez, who's had a good game, really lively. He's no spring lamb anymore, but he absolutely has been throwing himself about. Great engine on him, the Mexican striker. Here's Anthony Gordon talking about engines, but he's giving the ball away. Kevin then, he cuts just ahead of a challenge and he's brought down. That, again, should be a yellow card for Bruno Guimaraes. A quick dancing feat from the Brazilian. He's got some talent about him, hasn't he?
He does, yeah, he does. He was a little bit sort of, so the first couple of runs we saw from Kevin, there wasn't too much trickery. Trippier very easily stopped him, but the last one we saw dance past two Newcastle players quite easily, and now his fellow countryman there, Bruno Guimaraes, getting a little bit sick of it, and he picks up a yellow card.
Yeah, I didn't see the yellow card be given there, but
I thought it was.
I assumed it was because it looked so obvious and cynical, but. We'll wait for confirmation because I didn't actually see the referee give him one there. But anyway, it looks so clear cut. It's laughable if he didn't, but that doesn't mean to say he did. Bassi then, long ball headed back where it came by Fabian Schär. Little flick from Bruno, but the ball one back. Here come Fulham again down the left hand side. He will be cutting in. He's played better since he's been in the middle. Ball breaks out to the right hand side now. And Lukic thinks about having a shot. Thinks better of it. Finds a Dalmatori now. Maybe a chance to run it down, but no, they double up on him. He's still thinking about it. Ball outside the area. Fulham then just camped here in the Newcastle half, playing pretty well down the right hand side. Opportunity for them. Kenny Tete creeping a little heel there, but that's been won back by Newcastle into midfield. And Bruno Guimaraes doing well, and then Anthony Gordon, little step over Kenny Tete and him doing battle, but Gordon comes away with the ball and he's driving through midfield now, finds Harvey Barnes. A good ball for him. He's going to have a run here to Sessegnon. We'll take him on his inside, you feel. No, he runs straight there and he runs straight into a challenge, and that ball's not coming back because Kevin is going to run away from both of them now, but he runs forward. He will be back to help out there. Kevin Crossfield ball his right boot. He's a beauty. Dalmatori can really run it. Dan Bird's got to get his head down, and now he does. Takes him into the box. Puts an early ball in, but that's been blocked away by Dior. And again, Newcastle into midfield. Game like basketball now, going to end, and it's a cracking good game.
It is, yeah, and any side can win it here. As I say, Fulham looked a little bit off it in the first half, but you always thought they had a goal in, and they got that goal back. Lukic now, the goal scorer, has just given a foul, given a free kick away inside the centre circle. But yeah, I right now it really is a toss of a coin as to who could win this game. Yeah,
so Eddie Howe hoping that his team can find something out somewhere. Can the Can't that great crowd at St James's Park get them over the line and give them some support? There'd be a bit of fatigue, and all those fans thinking, you're fickle nowadays, aren't they? The fans, well, yeah, we were good in midweek, but we were tired, and maybe the manager this or that player that. But anyway, Fulham blocking away, ball breaks to Kevin again. It's a great ball again from him. Iwobi cuts on his inside ball, and Jimenez, who's trying the glory pass there through, and I said he'd worked hard, but that looked a tired ball from him.
It
really
did. I mean, it wasn't the right sort of shot selection. If we're talking in golf terms, he should have had a different club there, because I think he was trying to sort of flick it with the outside of the boot. If he'd have just put a little bit more lace on that and actually got it through towards Kevin, there was half a chance. But Newcastle now getting ready to bring on Anthony Elanga.
Yeah. So his form had gone off a little bit. Pretty good with Forest last season, not so good with Newcastle this, and then he finds himself not only behind Murphy but behind Barnes as well. So if Elanga's coming on, does that mean Gordon's going off? Here is Anthony Gordon, controls the ball, having a fight with Tete again, cuts on his inside, all right foot, flicks the ball on his in. It's great work from him, finds Joel into ball at the edge of the area, chance for a strike, shot comes in. Oh, that was close from Bruno Guimaraes. Good hit that.
Was a good strike, and Leno was certainly diving across to make the save. You can see from the replay now that it was close here from Bruno Guimaraes, just moving away from goal, but it was inches from the post.
Yeah, it's a good effort there, good hit, and I'm not sure that Bernd Leno is going to save that if it sneaks inside the post, but Elanga then has come on. And he's come on for Anthony Gordon, who...
Shake of the head from Anthony Gordon. Obviously, he's never happy to go off, but maybe it was that after that really good ball into the box, the one afterwards, which was so bad, maybe that started to sway Eddie Howe's thinking as to what should happen next.
Well, he was so good in midweek, and you think, well, you just can't keep rolling out those kind of performances. Adama's going off now.
Yeah, to be replaced by the younger Josh King, older... listeners, older fans will remember, of course, there was a Josh King that played for Fulham quite a while ago, but this is the younger one. And the story I really like about this 19-year-old Josh King is that when because he's been a Fulham fan his whole life, he was actually a mascot at Fulham at Craven Cottage a few years ago when the captain was Tom Kearney, and now of course they're in the same squad. So it's funny how these things sometimes go about, but. He's made a couple of good appearances as well, Josh King. Still relatively raw, but Marco Silva does put a lot of faith in him.
Yeah, I've seen him, and I think he's a cracking good player. So, yeah, interested. I still would have had Adama running at Dan Hall's tired legs, I think, but they didn't quite exploit that, did they? That mismatch.
Well, look at this, right? We've now got Alex Iwobi playing in his. Is that? Well, actually, no, looking at it, it was Traore that stayed on the field. I think have they. They have taken off Traore. It looks to me like they were going to take off Iwobi, but Iwobi now has gone into his third position this afternoon by going into the right wing position now.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? But he's capable. So anyway, the ball held up by Joe Linton. Then he's falling backwards. They're looking for a free kick that he's not going to get. And then a really clumsy challenge. So Elanga's welcome to the game as somebody just running over the back of him. Really. I think it was Kevin with a poor challenge, more an attacker than a defender, eh? But anyway, an obvious free kick. Newcastle 1, Fulham 1, 78 minutes gone. Tonali on the ball. We've not seen much of the Italian. Don't know why he'd not been fancied to start, but Lewis Smiley did. We didn't really mention him too much. Joe Linton, he's playing his usual good game. Bruno getting involved. So the old gang back together, that midfield three, superb players, each and every one of them. But what's Sandro got? Terrible ball, gave him the big build-up, and that's what you get. But he's a terrific player. They're a really good three. Obviously, Tonali will keep getting linked here and there, particularly back to Italy. There's no reason why he wouldn't want to stay in Newcastle and stay in Northumberland and all that, beautiful up there. It'd be a great place to start with your family and all that. But
it's interesting you say that. John Joe Shelby made that point. Saw an interview with him recently. He's now playing in the second division in the UAE. He played in front of about 100 fans in his last game. Yeah. But he made the point that even throughout all the time he's been in Turkey and stuff, his family have always been based in the northeast, because he said it is a great place to bring up your kids. It's that variety of having the major city, but then all that lovely countryside and the coast, all in a very sort of short they're very sort of small areas, so it doesn't surprise me. There is that sort of assumption that London clubs are always going to be able to attract the best players, but it depends. I mean, obviously, most London clubs train outside of London anyway, so you're not really living in the capital itself in any case.
No, that's right. Yeah, Northumberland's beautiful. I've lived up there a while. Anyway, Newcastle won, Fulham won, and yeah, these well, they can live where they want, can't they? I think Shelby was saying he likes it in the UAE, but who wants to live in a gated community somewhere? Not particularly me. I live in the real world. Anyway, Fulham, they've still got hold of the ball just over the halfway line, and now the ball with Szczerbakowicz. He drives forward, a little nibble from behind from Joe Linton, but nothing, not enough to give a free kick. Then the ball tried to be forced into the middle there by Iwobi, now out on the right hand side. Just funny watching him pop up everywhere. And when he was, and I thought when he was playing through the middle, he looked really good, and so not so good on the left. We'll see how he gets on the right. Ball given away by Ilanga, and now the counter attack is on. Look at the pace on the ball now. Kevin getting forward. Can he get on the ball? Yes, he can. No, he can't. Trippier just steps up, but ball given away in the middle by Lukic. Pretty easy to spot him now with his a bandage on his hand and a bandage on his head. Barnes now he's gone out to his normal left hand side because Alanga's on, and he gets round the back here. Great work from Harvey Barnes, puts the ball in the box. Here's an opportunity, ball smashed in by Alanga, and it's blocked away, I think, before it is even saved that one. So great opportunity, ball breaks to Tonali now, a shot comes in straight down the middle, and that's easy for Leno.
Yeah, Leno making the save. I just wondered that effort from Alanga, it might have actually been blocked by his own teammate there as that ball was heading towards the edge of the 6-yard box, but comfortable save in the end with the second effort from Leno. But Newcastle just starting to knock on the door a bit more now.
Josh King just a touch back to Iwobi, ball back to Lukic, and Joe Linton bumps into him. Now Bassi on the ball, looks long, not a bad looking ball that. Comes at the chest initially of Jimenez, but Shah's very cool and calm, lays that ball back to his keeper Nick Pope. It's not had an awful lot to do really, but he picked the ball out the back of his neck. Botman put in the back of the net as well by Sasa Lukic at the time, but it all stood. Just a clash of heads really as Bassi trying to hold off Ilanga's. Kept him honest at the very least, keeps it outside the box. Ilanga looking for a give and gone in, runs straight into Bassi. It wasn't a foul. The ball now in the middle of the park. How many times Bruno runs into sort of half challenge and comes back out, but then he overcooked it. The ball now again, Shah reads it, gets there ahead of Kevin, needed to, and smashes that ball away, finds Joe Linton. Tonali now, ball out of his feet, Trippier driving forward, finds it, Ilanga under pressure now, Newcastle ball into the box. Oh, and it's through one or two challenges, picked up by Bruno at the edge of the area again, he just holds it up. Voltemada now, little heel from him, and eventually they're all hacking away there, and he just can't get the ball out of his feet. On the half turn now, Jimenez has done well, but a little step over there, and some time bought us. Now Newcastle on the attack, left hand side, Harvey Barnes, can he cut in? He's inside the box, scrapes the ball to the far post, eventually that will be hammered up into the air. Hell of a game we've got here. Newcastle coming on strong now, they're looking the most likely to go on and win the game. Can Fulham hitting the counter attack?
It's just becoming a little bit relentless from Newcastle now. The last 3 or 4 minutes, Fulham are struggling to get the ball even away from their own penalty, and never mind over the halfway line. And it's just a question of whether Eddie House players can actually jump on that and really put the game to bed now.
Yeah, exactly that. Iwobi's great, but I don't think Fulham any better for having on the flank there. I'd have kept Traore on anyway, and I thought it looked like it was working with Iwobi through the middle, but anyhow. Josh King's a fine player. We haven't mentioned him too much.
Do you think some managers sort of have a look at their bench and they sort of make a decision even before kickoff that so-and-so is going to come on around about this time? So sometimes it's almost like part of their tactical thinking that this player will come on with 20 minutes to go, and occasionally during the match something might happen where you might not actually want to do that. But Fulham are preparing to shore things up in central midfield now because it looks like their veteran club captain Tom Kenny's getting ready to come on.
Yeah, I think that sometimes when they're managing minutes, it's like, well, he's going to get 60 because that's all we've got on the clock for him, because we do that we do more than that, and he goes into the red, then he gets injured, then we're to blame. So everybody's managing minutes all the time nowadays, particularly with your key cogs and those slightly older players. Anyway, 7 minutes left of this game to go. Langa's on the ball now, down the right hand side, a chance to take on Sessegnon, flicks it out of his feet. It's a good ball to find Bruno at the edge of the area again. The Brazilian absolutely fantastic today. The ball laid out to Trippier. Can he get across his stance? Onto the far post. Real opportunity here. And is it forced into the back of the net? Well, Joe Linton peels away there.
Side netting.
And it's the side netting that rippled. Yeah, just screams there. I just wondered for a second, had it gone in? Everything went quiet, didn't it?
Well, we'll see here. But he's got to. Well, in fairness, Tete's just in front of him, and Leno is diving in front of the post. It's nowhere near as an easier chance as the one that Bruno Guimaraes missed. But I suppose from Joe Linton's sort of school days as being a striker, he probably should have done better there, really.
Yeah, maybe we're looking at that block put in. Sessegnon from Ilanga it was.
Honestly, ever since I said that he's a better winger than he is a defender, he's put in 2 really good blocks and an excellent challenge as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, I think he's good going forward. He gets goals and assists, doesn't he? Tom Kenny comes on now. Had been club captain for a while. And Lukic run his race there, scored his goal. I thought he does that job where he goes into the box. I like that about him. You know,
he's been patient, Lukic. He's been in that Fulham squad now for 3 seasons, and previously he was sort of used as like a sub. He'd come on towards the end of a game, whereas now they are actually trusting him to start alongside Sander Biegas, that sort of defensive midfield too.
Yeah, because what he brings to party, he wouldn't be the most talented player in the Premier League, would he? But he's like, you know, he must have a good engine, keeps supporting attacks, and you think, well, eventually he's going to score a goal.
And he's quite a tall, stocky player for a central midfielder, which can also help sometimes with all the aerial stuff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, it is Fabian Schär on the ball now, finds Trippier, draws Kevin towards him, then he's out, ball is okay, ball picked up by Bruno, middle of the park, again he's going to fight, and again he's going to win his duel. He's just ace at that. The ball breaks here, might be offside.
Oh!
Ball has gone across, and the keeper somehow scraped that away. I thought the flag should have gone up there, but they let him play on. I think that was an offside move, but Leno, I think, had to do well there from Tonali.
Well, the angle from that shot from Tonali it seemed like he didn't really have any sort of way to go for goal, but he used the height of that ball to really fire it across the keeper. It was a good save from Leno, and the flag never went up. Here come Newcastle again.
Ilanga now with the cross in, a bit of a daisy, because it bounces through the box, but Fulham now should be able to clear their lines. They've got a bit of time if they use it well. Kevin's on the ball now, he runs away over the halfway line. Those chasing him can't catch up with him. Eventually they do, because he's got nothing on. He's forced to go backwards there, and eventually the ball goes out of play. His teammates need to support him a little bit better there. Kevin looks a good player, I think, and a good out option, but they had nothing else.
I don't think there is an offside there against Tonali as we look at that. And what an angle of a shot! He's sort of outside of the boot, bending effort there from.
I don't
Tonali.
think it's going in. Will Asula's come on now for Newcastle.
Yeah, well, just as Fulham made well, it says like for like. I thought they might have gone with 2 up top here for the last few minutes, Newcastle, but I suppose they haven't had as much attacking possession maybe to justify that. So the sort of tall and ranging Voltemada is off, and it's not as if Asula's not a tall player himself, but he's got a bit more speed about him. So maybe that's the idea, just to try and sort of catch Fulham out. Yeah,
they haven't got Janvis back just yet, but they will pretty soon, I think. Anyway, the ball out to the right side for Ilanga. Just 4 minutes left of regulation play. As again the ball won in the middle of the park, and yeah, they're picking up a lot. This midfield three just majestic, aren't they? They keep on going, don't they? Tonali back on the ball. Bruno's won so many little jewels in there today. Or he runs into traffic, picks the ball, scrappy, but he comes out with the ball. You think, how did he do that? He's such a street fighter, isn't he? Anyway, Newcastle 1, Fulham 1. It's been a cracking good game. Fulham deserve to get back into it, but I'm not sure here the Magpies aren't doing enough to deserve nicking the game.
I think if anyone's going to nick the game out, it looks like it's more likely to be Newcastle, with a long ball played to Trippier and a flick back towards Ilanga, and his ball is just over towards the left-hand side now, John.
Yeah, so they're in the box. They're looking for a meaningful shot. The ball goes in and out of the box. Again, Bruno on the ball. Again, he finds a teammate. Shot comes in. It's a poor effort from outside the box, and that's driven well wide in the end. Was it Thiaw with the shot? I don't know who it was. But anyway.
It was Malik Thiaw. He got forward, and to say, I'm sure that Eddie Howe will be glad that his centre-back has got forward, but he probably want him to have a slightly better effort on goal than that one. Now the camera focusing on Voltemada, who, in fairness, didn't see as much of the ball in the second half, even though Newcastle had some decent chances.
Yeah, he had a very quiet game, and again, he's a young fella. When he arrived at Newcastle, they said he's not really fit, and so they had a lot of work to do to get him up to speed for the Premier League. And of course, it's hard work. He works back into midfield. Here, a chance for Fulham King trying to wriggle his way round. Thiaw has got too much for him there. Plenty of strength about him, plenty of pace about him. Thiaw looks a really good option, I think. I like Botman, I like Thiaw, I like Dan Burn in the middle, so I think that going forward for them, and Shaw obviously is a classy player, it looks like they've got those things covered now. For a long while they were courting Mark Gay, weren't they? And an awful lot of money thrown at that project unsuccessfully, kind of thing. But now we're Gay waiting for perhaps the summer for his free move to wherever that is. Anyway, Fulham have got a throw now. We're only a minute left of regular time now, and it's been a really good game. But I wonder if there's just one last surprise for us. One all, I guess, would suit the game to some degree.
I think both managers would say they would be happy with a draw, but both would say they probably had the chances to win it. And Newcastle just got to be careful here, because Fulham have just started to step up a little bit. Although, just as I say that, Bassi has played a poor ball, and here come Newcastle. Yeah,
they do. Driving forward now, Willisula. What can he do with the ball into the box? He goes. He's getting it out of his feet. Takes an edge, then he gets his shot in. It might break the rebound. The rebound is put in. Newcastle very late to win. Bruno Guimaraes slides towards the corner flag. Takes the crowd. They go wild. And every right to. He just keeps on going. He is a tremendous player.
He is a tremendous player. He's very popular in this part of the world, and you can see why, because he plays with so much energy, so much heart, and he gets so many big goals for Newcastle. Penny for the thoughts of that Fulham goalkeeper we just saw, Bernd Leno. He'll be very disappointed. I mean, the first effort was a very powerful strike from Willisula, and all he could do was just push it out in front of himself, and Bruno Guimaraes on hand to get the rebound. And as we hit injury time in this game, we'll see the fourth official putting up the board now. I'm predicting a 5 or a 6 minimum, but it all starts with Bassi just taking too long on the ball, playing a loose ball, and of course Bassi was involved in Newcastle's first goal as well. There's no offside against Bruno Guimaraes when that strike comes in from Asula, so it should be fine.
Yeah, I was looking at Asula there getting the ball out of his feet, thinking maybe he'd overdone it, but he got a good shot away, didn't he?
Should Leno be pushing it further away?
Well, for Leno, he's got to think about pushing it wide, doesn't he? He makes a save, but if you're pushing it back into open play, then you're always in trouble. Maybe he could have done better to push it out for goal kick, corner kick or something. But anyway, full credit to Bruno. Like I said, street fighter instincts. He's always in the battle. He's never out of it. And just hunting up what energy he's got. And then a tight little finish again. I think me and you would have scored it. The crowd got absolutely wild, don't they?
I'm certainly better with my feet than I am with my head. So I think there was more chance of me scoring that one than the header that was missed earlier by Bruno. But all that aside, and we can see a few disappointed faces on that Fulham side. They'll be very frustrated. There's going to be a late change here as well, just to try and get a little bit more energy on that right-hand side. So like for like, Timothy Castagna coming on here for Kenny Tete.
Yeah, I think it's in a double change, just desperate last knock-ins really of the game.
There's another change here for
Iwobi's gone off, run his race, run himself to a standstill, I think, and the player has gone. It's Kusi Sari, so and he now rises for the ball, flicks it on. It will nestle nicely into the hands of Nick Pope, who had an awful lot to do. Fulham were absolutely gutted by that goal, weren't they? You could just tell they put so much into the game. I think they targeted the game. I know it's a silly thing to say, everybody wants to win every game, but you know what I mean? I think they've gone there thinking, right, it's a really good time to play them. They were great in midweek, but they expended a lot of energy. The fact that Gordon had gone off, Voltemar had gone off, you think, it's half the battle. We've got them onto their second string, but they've got good players all the way through the team. I think it's significant as well. 6 minutes of added time we're into. We've still got 4 minutes left. That it's their preferred midfield trio in there right now. And from that point, when Tonali came on, I think they've driven the game and dominated the game.
Yeah, there's definitely a correlation between Newcastle feeling more confident and looking better going forward with Tonali coming on the field. There's absolutely no doubt about that. And we've made this point before in our commentaries that it's not just the player coming on the field, it's the other players seeing the manager bringing that player on. It tells them that there's something happening, this is what the manager wants, and it gives them that confidence as well.
So ball won by Trippier. He's got Ilanga on the overlap, but they're going to take it to the corner flag. They're going to faff about. Faffing being the order of the day, then the ball goes backwards. So a good break forwards, and then let's retreat, go backwards. Tonali then to Trippier. No pressure on the ball now. Fulham look gutted, absolutely gutted. The ball scraped off Bassi from Bruno, and he says, "Everybody, come on your feet. I'm pretty good, me, eh?" And the fans oblige. But he's great. He's great. Honestly, I did him in midweek. You sort of got to love this Newcastle team in a way. As a neutral watching them, they always get excited. I like watching Gordon. Think Wolfhamada's good. They dig in when they need to in midfield. Like I said, they're beginning to get that backline sorted out. So much to like about them, really.
No, absolutely, and I think that all the talk when the takeover happened that Eddie Howe is, he's going to be there now, but surely they're going to have more ambition. And actually things have sort of scaled back. The sort of financial fair play seems to have hit Newcastle and Aston Villa more than anybody else. It seems like all the other big teams find a way of still spending hundreds of millions, but these two clubs haven't been able to do that. And actually, you think of how much Elliot Anderson has come on at Forest. Had he been able to develop at Newcastle, if they weren't forced to sell him, maybe there'd be an even stronger midfield at St James's now.
Yeah, I reckon so. They'd been linked with a move back from last week at Newcastle, so stranger things have happened.
Yeah, I mean, it's to say, we're fascinated to see exactly what Forest do now under Sean Dyche, and maybe Anderson doesn't quite fit that sort of midfield mould of Sean Dyche. Of course, he has a past with Nottingham Forest. The fact he was actually a youth player at a time when Brian Clough was still there.
And he lives there, doesn't he? So, I think it'd be sort of welcome home kind of thing until they start losing a few.
Well, listen,
on your back like everybody else.
The thing is, everyone knows that the owner has high expectations. He's trigger happy in terms of his changes. I think all things considered, he probably would have preferred just keeping Nuno where he was. But I think Nuno potentially could sense that things weren't quite right in the background, because he's no amateur. He knew when he made those comments in that press conference he was going to lose his job as well.
Right, Newcastle 2, Fulham 1. We've got just a minute left to go. It's been a cracking good game, this one. Really enjoyable. Fulham, it's one last hurrah for them. They played quite well, but cold light of day, you look at it and you look at two mistakes from Calvin Bassey and say that's the difference. You really do. So as much as we can admire the spirit and courage of Newcastle, who clearly were a little bit leggy and weary, you've got to say mistakes can kill you off. Fulham might have gone and won this game on another day, but like I said, it's just one of those.
Well, meanwhile, as Newcastle have had a late winner, so have their neighbours. Sunderland, in the 4th minute of 6 minutes of added time at Stamford Bridge, have got a late winner through Talby. Yeah,
do you know what? Jem Disney, Talby, another one of those players who just slotted in. We've got seconds left of this game at Newcastle. Eddie Howe is marshalling the troops there from his technical area. Ball goes long, headed away by Shot into midfield. Newcastle still have it. Joe Linton then surely just going to chop the ball out. Bruno now just takes the ball, calms it down. Come on, lads, no need to go mad. Dan Burn, long ball.
There might be a few extra seconds here because the goal was scored in added time. There's a celebration and everything, and there was a substitution, so we may get an extra full minute on top of the 6.
We may, but Fulham might need another 10 minutes to get anything. Give me the ball away, half the field. Here's a real chance for Willisula. Drives into the box, then can he get his shot away? He's still going. Gets the shot, blocked away for a corner. That's got to be the last act of the game. Either corner kick or what comes from it. Willisula just picking up the ball. Fulham just so culpable of shooting themselves in the foot today. And
both Diop and Bassey have made some serious individual errors today. Diop was playing everybody on side for a couple of Newcastle moves. Bassey's given the ball away for both of the Newcastle goals today, and I think that may be it. The referee's just looking at his watch again, is he?
Yeah, but he's
still going to allow this corner to be taken.
Well, he'll allow the corner kick to go up in the air, I think. But anyway, taken short. Dan Burn now is on the ball. We're still waiting for the referee. Peter Banks being ever so officious now. 97 minutes on the clock, and surely this game's over. Newcastle have the ball deep. Dan Burns, no hurry to take the throw in. Now he takes it, gets it back from Joe Linton, actually giving it away. One last chance here for Fulham. Play the ball down the line. Surely last knockings of the game. Ball goes to King. A challenge comes across. And, Shah just ferries back there. Job not done just yet. Peter Banks enjoying his work, seemingly. We're going to get a long throw into the box here, I would have thought. 2 balls on the pitch. Everybody waiting to celebrate for Newcastle.
I must admit, this is a little bit more time than I was expecting. By the time this throw-on is taken, we would have had a full 2 minutes on top of the 6. But Fulham still with a chance to launch the ball into the penalty area.
Yeah, they do. And here's going to be the long throw. Last chance saloon then for Fulham. Little flick on into the box. It goes. Was there a shove? Yes, there was a shove. As the referee still hasn't blown his whistle just yet. He's given a free kick.
Jonah Kusiasare, I think, was just a little bit too keen to find some space to go for the header, but for the time being, the referee's still going to wait for Newcastle to take this free kick.
Well, it's like torture, this, isn't it? But, well, that's it. The referee has finally called it. Final scoreline, St James's Park. Newcastle United 2, Fulham 1. Thanks for joining us.